What's up everybody, this is Johnny over at Witchcraft Whips. Keith asked me to make a short video talking a bit about the insides of a bullwhip. Now, if you're a whip maker already, you are probably well aware of everything that I'm gonna cover, but if you're not a whip maker, maybe you're just a whip cracker and whip enthusiast, it might be fun to know what's inside your bullwhip. So, let me just start out by saying that I'm not going to go into heavy details on everything. I'm essentially just going to show you and talk a wee bit about what the different components provide in the whip. In the very center of your whip is the core, along with some sort of stiffening for the handle. Usually it's some sort of steel. This happens to be a nail spike, and the rest of the whips that I'm going to show you uses spring steel. And then you have the core for the whip. And the core is essentially just a rolled up long triangle of leather that provides the initial taper of the whip coming off the handle. And you can use the core in different ways to provide different sort of effects in the whip. A heavy core or a lighter core can taper it differently. But again, not gonna head into all those juicy details. But in the very center of your whip is your handle foundation and your core. And over the core goes the first belly. Now, as you hopefully is able to tell, the first belly is braided. Now, depending on the whip model, the braiding can start at the end of the handle and have a yoke that wraps around the handle foundation. But in this particular instance, the first belly is braided all the way from the end of the handle to the end of the core. And the braided bellies is sort of like a spine in the whip. It provides a bit of rigidity, and it has to be tight so that it compresses the core and makes everything nice and dense. And from the first belly, you have the tail ends that also taper out. And you had the core underneath the first belly. So the core provides taper in this section right here. Now after that, the tail ends from the first belly becomes the new core and provides the taper for the next layer. And over the first belly, you'll generally have a bolster. And this bolster happens to be a chrome split that I use for my Aussie models. But another common material is, Vegtan cow or kip. And the bolster essentially just wraps around the first belly and provides a bit more girth. It absorbs a lot of conditioner that'll help keep the insides of the whip in good shape. And it's also a shaping layer. And as the next belly gets braided on top of this, it compresses everything down, or it compresses the bolster and makes the whip even denser, and provides, again, a nice shape to the whip. And as you might be able to tell, the bolster doesn't extend quite as far as the tail ends from the first belly. But again, you can design this in various ways. This is just how I do this particular model. And over the bolster goes the second belly. And as you might be able to tell again, we are gaining a bit more length now. This second belly on this particular whip happens to be about 4 foot 6 inches. And we're also getting a bit more girth to the whip. And again, the second belly is very similar to the first one. You braid it tight, it provides a bit of rigidity to the whip, and it compresses everything that's below it. We have tail ends from the second belly, extending even further out to provide the taper in this section of the whip. And after the second belly, the classic design has another bolster, but on these particular whips that I'm working on, you don't. So on top of this second belly goes the overlay. And obviously you have some knots as well, and the fall and the cracker, but this is essentially the finished whip. And here you can see, I'll pull them back a wee bit, sort of the different stages of your bullwhip. So you have the core and the handle foundation, the first belly with a bolster on top of it, the second belly, and the finished whip.